This week on The Modified World, I sit down with Mr. Jared Silverman, yet again, to ask some questions. So stay tuned. Alright, so welcome to Modified World, the weekly web show about body modification, the people who do it, the people who get it, and why it matters. I'm your host, that guy from Pangea Piercing and the purveyor of all this internet wackiness, JC Potts. And this week, we're going to be asking our friend Jared Silverman a couple of follow-up questions. You might remember Jared from our earlier episode when I went down to TRX in St. Louis, where he used to be. Now, since then, he's moved over to Born This Way Body Arts, which is Tennessee's. I know everybody kind of chuckles at Tennessee, but I promise you people on the coast who just think of us as the flyover states in the Midwest, and well, y'all are missing out, because Born This Way actually handles a lot of business. They've done a lot of innovative stuff. What exactly have you guys, one of the things that I've noticed is you guys are a fairly new shop in the great scheme of things. What have you guys done to make yourselves like this powerhouse out of nowhere?
Well, there's a couple of things. We're only 2 years old at this point. The anniversary was in May, so it's really not that long ago. But what you got to understand is that it's not just about having the jewelry there or having the tattoo artist or piercer skill there. It's about letting people know that it's there. And the biggest thing is that we've got a professional photographer on staff, April Berardi. She takes our photos, retouches them, and we've got a really clean brand because of that. Everybody can look at our photos and identify it like, oh, that's April's work. That's Born This Way. And so I think it's really important in making that outreach by, through your brand, through your style, and making it significant. Because other people would not, notice us otherwise. People wouldn't know us in Russia or Australia unless if we had those good photos and that good promotion. And, it's worked really well for us. Another thing that's really changed a little bit in Tennessee is that there really hasn't been any high-end shops. There hasn't been anybody like selling internally threaded jewelry, anything that's really appropriate for the body, or providing it in a way that, is approachable. And so that's really kind of cool to see the people come out of the woodwork. People that wouldn't normally get tattoos or piercings, they're coming to us because we have a spa-like environment. They can walk in and feel comfortable and
not feel like they're treated like a second-class citizen.
It's easy for them. Everybody understands that experience where you're like, oh, I'm going to buy a piece of luggage. And you go in the store and the guy's just like, if you need anything. You know what I mean? Like, you need that assistance, and not everybody is comfortable enough socially to ask for that assistance. And so it's been really great having that level of atmosphere at Born This Way, being able to provide something to somebody who really wants to be involved in what we're doing, really wants a piercing for themselves, but doesn't really see a way to do it. They're not comfortable getting pierced by other people in our area. So it's been really great, having a shop there and seeing those clients come in and needing that extra something and being able to get it in their area without having to, drive 6 hours. And we do have people drive 6 hours from North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky, wherever.
Well, honestly, I always say cream rises and sinks. And that's just kind of how it goes. Now, of course, I'm not trying to denigrate any of the other people in the Mid-South or anything like that, but admittedly, I think, if anything, Born This Way displayed proof of concept that a world-class shop can happen virtually anywhere. You wouldn't think
Absolutely.
Knoxville, Tennessee is a hotbed of high-end body modification.
And however, it's not the people that are into piercings. It's the people that work at DIY Network and Food Network and all these people that are creative behind-the-scenes people that already have an alternate lifestyle in their own way. They're coming in and discovering part of themselves that they've never seen before. They've never walked into a shop that has anything more than a barbell and a ring, if your options go from 2 to 100, that is huge in making that decision,
So on a serious note, though, how much of y'all's success do you feel like you can contribute to your online persona?
I would say most of it because, like I said, we get a great amount of referrals from the APP, safepiercing.org, by the way. We have a great amount of people that refer us from other shops in the country, and so it's great having that online presence because if we weren't putting the work out there, other people in other states would not recognize us for the work that we're doing. And so whenever they're looking, oh, you're from Tennessee and you're going back there. Well, I don't have anybody there. And now they do. And so that's the biggest part of our, thing. It's hard to grow a business, just being a brick and mortar store for any business. It makes it a lot easier when you've got other people helping. And that's what it's all about, is getting other people that you can believe in their skill and trust that they're going to do best by your client, and send them to them. That way we can have a more vibrant community, more continuity, work together better.
Which is one of the things I've been preaching about since day one. Everybody trying to help each other. Let's fight the good fight. And with that, freehand piercing. You're a recent acolyte, adherent, a recent convert to the toolless world. What's been your experience so far? I'm sure you love not having to run tools at the end of the night. Have you noticed any kind of better thing as far as like customer comfort or better healing or anything like that?
So, in my last video, I talked a little bit about how the other videos and media that's out there for body piercing isn't necessarily great for the image of body piercing. And so you have these clients come in where they're just like, oh, I heard the clamp will hurt the most. And I just tell them, I don't use those clamps. And it really seems to comfort them a little bit, in that they know that the most painful part of the piercing is
now the needle
present. And I think it's great because I give them that outlet to experience that without having that trauma. Because I don't think that you are necessarily a bad piercer if you use clamps. I'm not saying that at all. I am saying that most bad piercers use clamps, and they use them incorrectly. They're really damaging the client, and it hurts.
Yeah, they should never be locked on somebody. I don't care if you bought the specially designed to be able to lock on somebody, whatever clamps that you bought. No, folks, don't clamp those on people.
I don't even use the rubber bands, man. Anytime I use a clamp right now, it's as a curette. I just use it as a backing, so I don't have to have my fingers right next to that needle coming out. And so switching over to mostly clamp-free, freehand, whatever you want to call it, has been really difficult for me. It's kind of a stretch, but I like that challenge. I like being able to rise to the occasion and learn something new, and it's been great. It's totally changed my piercing career, and that I'm forced to go back and analyze my actions. In addition to having a statum now, I work completely differently than I did, even a year ago. I'm going through my portfolio now and throwing stuff away because it just doesn't meet the criteria for what I'm doing now. And that's awesome. I love that I'm able to do that.
Well, of course, I wanted to say thank you to Mr. Silverman for being able to come down and withstand the grilling of whatever we do on here. I do this every week, folks. If you haven't subscribed yet, you probably ought to, because I think you're derelict in duty if you haven't subscribed. Plus, hell, it helps the show out. I need the numbers, folks. And I know you support what I do, so share this video with your Tumblr, or your Facebook thinger, or your Google Plus if you happen to be one of the 15 Google employees who actually watch the show.
And don't be afraid to contact us about more information. That's what we're here for. Our jobs is to make sure that you have a safe and healthy piercing.
Links in the section down below in the description of this video. You can get a hold of Brian/Jared/ any of the happy people up there at bornthiswaybodyarts.com. And of course, hit us up on your various social media networks and stuff. And stop back by next week. I'm going to have another episode of The Modified World.